Cryotherapy. Application of cold for the first aid of trauma reduces many of the adverse conditions related to the inflammatory reactive phase and acute injury. PRI, what does P stand for? R. I. Ice. D. No. Compression. E. Elevation. Yes. Used from day one or from initial injury to up to 14 days post-trauma. Cryotherapy again. All right. Two of the most common means to apply cryotherapy are with ice or cold pack, then immersion in a cool or cold water. We don't use a lot of that as far as using an ice bucket for somebody's ankle because your little toes don't get a whole lot of circulation as it is, and they are susceptible to being frostbit. So, back in the day, and yeah, I even hear it today, where coaches say, we're going to stick it in an ice bucket for 20 minutes. No, that's way too long. First off it's an ice bucket. So you're looking at 6 minutes, not 20. All right? Two is it's too cold. So wet ice is the most effective type of application rather than ice in a plastic container or commercial ice pack. What's wet ice? But this. About if I take the towel, right, and I put water on it. I pick the water up, I pick the towel up. What do I got on the table? Water. Okay? So what if I take ice and I put it in the towel? Right? There's this guy, he sells these things. They're little towels essentially, but they're all sewn up. You put them together, put ice in it. Okay? So what's the ice going to do? Well, is it going to melt inside a plastic bag also? Yeah, it does. But what's colder, ice or water? Obviously, ice is colder than the water. So if you're able to get rid of the water, yes, it's messier. If you're able to get rid of the water, the ice then stays on the application longer, right? But it is a mess. So that's what wet ice is. It's more effective. It gets rid of. So if I put an ice bag on somebody, it eventually is going to. What's at the bottom? Why? Because the ice is floating, right? So place cold to the skin for 15 minutes or less at a temperature of 50 degrees or less will cause vasoconstriction. What is vasoconstriction? When what gets too cold? Capillaries. Capillaries get cold, they constrict. And here's the cool thing about it, though, is that the body talks to itself. And the dude that made us was brilliant. So you put ice on the right knee. It got hurt, right? After 20 minutes, it goes and says, yo, call Frank over there on the left knee, will you? And they do, and they say, Frank, is it cold over there? Frank says, no, it's not cold over here on the left knee. What's it like over on the right knee? It's freezing over here. Oh, they're just jacking with you. Just open your capillary. And that's what happened. After 20 minutes, the body says, whoa, I only got one spot that's being cold. Instead of constricting the capillaries, I'm now going to open the capillaries. And that's known as hunting response, which all of this so far I know is on the test. Everything that we've gone over. So if it's cold continuously for 20 to 30 minutes, then there's a little bit of period for 4 to 6 minutes that's known as hunting response. And that's where the capillaries open back up. They're trying to keep frost damage from happening. So we don't want to get to that point. Trying to keep the swelling to a minimum by constricting the capillaries. But if we wait too long, it opens back up. We've defeated our purpose. Hunting response. Wow, that went crazy, didn't it? There we go. Hunting response. There we go. So what happens when you put cold on the body? Well, it lowers the metabolic rate and produces vasoconstriction. What's metabolic rate? How fast your body, works. Burns your calories. Takes care of business. All right? So swelling can be reduced in the acute inflammatory response. So cold does not reduce swelling that's already present, but helps keep the swelling from occurring. If you've already got swelling, it's already there. Cold's not getting rid of it. But if you just did the injury and you're trying to stop it from swelling, it will certainly do that. Why do we use it after rehab? Somebody comes in, they had an ankle injury, right? They do their rehab, and then we finish them off with ice. Nope. Because we're doing exercise, which then increases the metabolic rate. We want to slow it down to stop the swelling, new swelling from happening. And so that's why we end up with cold. All right, cold decreases free nerve ending excitability as well as the excitability of peripheral nerve. So analgesia, what's that? What's an analgesic? Analgesic. Come on, nobody's had terminology? Huh? Well, that should be one of the words there. The pain reliever. Anything that's a pain reliever. So is heat an analgesic? Heat. Yes, it is. Aspirin, is it an analgesic? Ibuprofen, ice, anything. So pain relief is caused by raising the nerve's threshold. So nothing's really changing. We're just raising the threshold so we get rid of the pain. 3 phases to ice. When you put ice on, it is, obviously, it is cold. Well, that's the last one. What's the one in the middle? It aches. And that's the shortest time of all 3 of them. So cold in general is more penetrating than heat. Once the muscle has been cooled through the subcutaneous fat layer, so no matter where you look, if you take your arm and you just sit there and you pull the skin back, first thing you're going to come across is fat. Shoulder blade, thigh, everywhere. All right? Thicker some places than others, but you have subcutaneous fat. And we talked about that earlier, didn't we? Last year, remember George? George that wanted to lose weight? And fat does what? Keeps you warm. So that's why you got it there. But once you get past it, it also insulates it from the cold coming back out. So cold's effects last longer than heat because fat acts as an insulator against rewarming. So physiological, what happens? What happens in the body? Cooling has the ability to decrease muscle fatigue and increase and maintain muscular contraction because of this decrease in the metabolic rate and the tissue temperature. Sounds exciting, huh? Y'all look like you just like going, oh, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to learn today. But some individuals are allergic to cold. Yes. And react in hives. And they have joint pain and swelling. Raynaud's phenomenon is a condition that causes vasospasm. So you get spasms in your blood, in your capillaries. Right? Really cool stuff. We've got a picture coming up. So it happens usually in your hand and your feet. It can last for hours, and it can lead to tissue death because you're not getting enough blood flow to your extremities. Early signs of the attack are intermittent skin blanching or cyanosis of the fingers or toes. All right, let's go look. There we go. All right, so this person, she picks up, apparently she picked up a snowball in both hands because that's her left hand showing, and she's holding it in the right hand. All right, so the blood flow starts off on the first one, and then it turns blue, and then when the blood returns, it starts to get red, flush. So what I want you to do for your homework tonight, which is a nice, easy grade, is I want you to find me a video and text me the link. Got it? This is not hard stuff. This takes 5 seconds of Raynaud's phenomenon. If it is not Raynaud's, you get 0. If it is, you get 100. So make sure you know what you're looking at. Well, what does that got to do with your homework? Yeah, probably. I haven't seen it. Just used to have a video on it, but somewhere it didn't get saved on the Billy. I'll find one for you tomorrow after you send me yours. All right? So, how else can we use cryotherapy? Ice cups. They're so great. All right. So, how long do we do an ice bag? At the most, 20 minutes on, off for an hour. Okay? How long do we do an ice cup? About 7 minutes. Why? Same stuff. It's ice. Because it's direct. What do you mean direct? More concentrated. How's it more concentrated than taking a bag, putting it straight on you? No, no pressure? Well, I can take an ice. I can take an ice bag, put it on, put a compression wrap on it. You know, an ice wrap. Huh? Well, there's only plastic between the ice bag and the skin. Huh? But there's no air. What does air do? All right. So let's talk about building a house. Okay. So you build a house. We've talked about houses before, haven't we? See, houses are really fun. They're great to learn from. Okay. Or better yet, I'll tell you how my grandfather used to insulate his soda water or his drink of water. Put it in a glass bottle. Didn't matter if it was glass. It could be glass, metal, whatever. Okay? And then he would just get a paper bag and put it in a paper bag. Put the bottle in a paper bag, and then he'd take it out to the garage, and he'd go get newspapers, and he'd wad it up, and he'd put it around the bottle in the paper bag. What's he making? An insulator. What's insulating? What's doing the insulation? No. 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 Air. The air that is between all the folds of the folded up newspaper. Okay? Come on, let's go back to the other movie that was talking about fat. Remember the girl, she cut open her jacket, right? And it had foam in it. And that foam has air in between it. So just like in a house, you have your roof, and then there's all that attic space, which is full of air. That air is not a whole lot different than what the temperature is. You ever go in an attic during the summer? Yeah, it's hot. Is it that hot in the house? Why? What's between that air and the roof of your insulation? What's in between the insulation? Air. So air is a great insulator. And since there is air in between each of those little pieces of ice, it doesn't allow it to get as cold. So there's no air. And then on top of that, it's straight ice, just straight to you. It melts. The water goes away, right? So what's continually touching? Ice. So that's why it's only 7 minutes compared to 20. Okay. Ice massage can be used over small muscle areas, but very seldom is there tissue damage. Ice or ice water or cold or ice water immersion. Place the limb in a 50-degree water. Unfortunately, most people go, oh, we got to get it really cold. It's got to be slushy. It doesn't need to be slushy. If you put somebody in something that's too cold, you can cause them to go into shock. Bam, they were just now about to overheat, and now you're trying to put them in hypothermia. Craziness. No, let's not do that. Keep it at 50 degrees. What's your normal body temp? 98.6 is the, quote, average. So 50 degrees is, what, 46 degrees less? 48 degrees, 48.6 degrees less? And we'll see these guys that are led by some fearless coaches that will go in there and say, we want it to be 38, 40 degrees. No, you don't need that. Athletics and athletic training and so forth is not to try and abuse people. Okay? That's just abuse. Putting somebody in there to where you're in 3 seconds, you're just shivering for your life. It's crazy. When you start your shivering, you're starting to cool down your core temperature. You don't need to cool down your core temperature. You just need to cool down what you need to cool down. If you've got an ankle, just stick the ankle in. All right? Elbows, stick your arm in. You don't need to put the whole body in, one. And two, you don't need it past 50 degrees. Nerves are very, very, very delicate things. Okay? You know, your nerves like your funny bone, your nerves like your perineal nerve. I saw a girl one time, she put ice on her leg and said, well, if a little bit of ice is good, a whole lot of ice has got to be better. She put ice on her leg right down here, on her leg funny bone, the perineal nerve. She got drop foot by the time she woke up in the morning because she slept with an ice bag on. She missed 2 months of athletics because she couldn't pick her foot up. Not a good thing. So ice can be dangerous, so you got to know what you're doing. Collagen tissue. What is that? Collagen tissue. Okay, so you're running that 100-meter dash, and boom, oh, my hammy, right? So you get a tear in your hamstring. What is that tear going to fill up with? What kind? Collagen tissue. Right. You don't get muscle to go in there. You get scar tissue. That scar tissue, after it heals a little bit, it's harder than what muscle tissue is. And so you start, the collagen tissue becomes more brittle. So if you're out there and it's cold and you haven't warmed up, you haven't broken a sweat, the collagen tissue is still brittle. Uh-oh. Now what we've done. Sometimes it's not bad, though, to have a little scar tissue break. Sometimes it gets it gets attached too tight. And when you're out there and you're playing and you'll feel something give way and you're thinking, oh, the worst just happened again. A lot of times that's not what it is. It's just scar tissue giving away. But we're not looking to try and do that. We want to make sure we don't have adhesions on it while we use ultrasound and we use massage, etc., to keep them from happening. So here's your ice bags. Remember, I told you, wet ice is best, but it's messier. Chemical deals. You see them on the TV all the time, right? Oh, you gotta have an ice pack. Let me grab this one here. Let's break it, rub it together. How cold is that? I don't know. It's chemical. It could be less than 32 degrees. It could be 10 degrees. I don't know. So I don't like chemical ice bags. All right? So use those with caution, especially if those things get a leak in them. Holy smokes. Now you're burning skin. Not a good thing. These are neat. Vasocoolant sprays. Y'all watch baseball, don't you? Trainer carries usually some gloves, some gauze, and a little tube about this big. And that tube is full of ethyl chloride. Now, Ethel, what she does, she's a cold thing. You can take it and you can freeze your hairs. Just open it up. As soon as it hits the air, it gets frozen. All right? You use this mainly, you see it mostly in baseball games. You get hit by a pitch, you're trying to get that. Because if we go back, what's ice do? Raises the nerve threshold so you don't feel the pain. We're just trying to stop the pain. All right? The other thing that you can use these on is aspiration. What's aspiration? Yeah. When you if you want to aspirate a joint, you got a bunch of swelling, especially like in a knee. You got a bunch of swelling in the knee, so let's strain your knee. So put that coolant on there, and then stick the needle in. So it doesn't hurt. You, yeah. Hold on there, and you seeing the needle go in and then feeling it. Huh? No. All right. If you don't have cryotherapy, you got thermotherapy. Cryo means thermo is, yeah, warm. What time you guys get done? Great. So heat is energy. All right. So is there such a thing as walking outside and it being cold? No. Cold is the norm. There's no energy. Right? It's just it's not as warm. If it's 30, if it's 0 degrees, is it warmer than on the moon? Probably so. Warmer than the furthest planet away? Why? It's further from the sun, so there's less energy. What about Mercury? We go to Mercury. There's more energy. All right? So it's all about having energy. If I fill that lily over here, my little lily, if I fill that up with hot water, matter of fact, get it to 110 degrees, 7:30 in the morning, by the time we leave, is it still going to be 110 degrees? Why? Because you haven't added any more energy to it, so it's going to go back to what it needs to be, or where whatever the ambient temperature is. It's like a swimming pool. The thermotherapy is energy. Heat is energy. Increases molecular activity by conduction, convection, and radiation. So, have we talked about conduction, convection, and radiation? I know you've heard it. Conduction. If I'm warm, right, and touch you and you're colder, and she's going to cool me down. Touch a railing when you leave. Okay? You grab a railing, your hand will get cooler, the railing will get warmer. You're going to meet in the middle. Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, so that's conduction. What's convection? Huh? Okay. Does anybody like cookies? I love chocolate chip cookies. You know what my favorites are, though? Snickerdoodles. Oh, gosh, they're so good. And if you make them right, you can't beat them, right? But if you cook it, you're going to cook them in the oven. You got to bake them, okay? So what kind of oven would you want to cook? Convection. What does it do? It does what? How? How? I'm not Indian. I'm not saying how. I'm saying hello. It moves the air. So that way, all over in the oven, it's hopefully all at the same degree, right? So it's convection is the air around you. What else could it be? Exactly. It'd be water. Go jump in a swimming pool right now. Why not? It's very low in energy. Exactly. And so it touching you is convection. What is radiation? The sun. See, it's all coming back to you now. Yep, sun. Thermotherapy modes are moist, dry, superficial, and deep. All right? So what is this one going to be? It is moist, right? Superficial or deep? No, not really. Pretty superficial. Superficial is at the top. Deep is down into the muscle belly. All right? What are we going to use to try and get heat into the muscles? Oh, well, that's got a lot of stuff. Huh? The ultrasound. Another deal is we don't have one because most people don't use it much more, but a diathermy. So diathermy would be dry and deep. Very good. So thermotherapy, the desirable effects of heat include increasing the extensibility of collagen tissue. Remember this, the collagen tissue? Now when we heat it up, it's like Play-Doh. You just take Play-Doh straight out of the little Play-Doh egg, right? And you try and go, oh, it broke. But if I knead it in my hands using conduction and warming it up, now I can stretch it like Stretch Armstrong. Okay? So we increase the extensibility of collagen tissue, decreasing joint stiffness, reduces pain, which means that heat then is also an analgesic. Relieving muscle spasm, reducing inflammation. How does it reduce inflammation? We didn't want heat the first time, now we do. You use it too early, it increases inflammation. Use it later, once you've got the healing process, it will reduce your inflammation, your edema, and allow swelling to spread out. So if I took some butter, and I take it, and I have it in the refrigerator, and I have butter, and I put it in the microwave. Microwave's going to heat that butter up, right? Yeah, what happens? Goes all over the counter. But the one in the refrigerator, it's hard. So that's like that swelling. Remember I told you that I tell you about the guy that had the bursa on his elbow? We wanted to aspirate it, but we had already put ice on it before the doctor showed up. He couldn't take it out. The cold made the collagen tissue harder. So next day we didn't put any on there. They just sucked out all the swelling out. Boom, right in the needle. All right. So it allows the swelling to spread out. Once you allow it to spread out in all directions, the post-acute phase of healing will increase your blood flow. Bingo, you're ready to go. All right, muscle cramps. Muscle cramps are caused by ischemia. Wow, that's a weird word. What is that? Oh, it's right there, isn't it? You didn't see that part, though, did you? You knew it. That's what I thought. Ischemia is the lack of blood supply to a body part. So, those of you that work soccer, all right, and you see these crazy people, they have to wear shin guards, but they buy the shin guards that don't just sit in your sock. They buy them that have that around their gastrocs or their calf. They put it on too tight, restricts the blood flow, they're going to get muscle cramps. Why you don't take for shin splints? It's going to cause cramps. All right, so never apply heat to where? Loss of sensation. Why not? Have you ever seen me put this on somebody? One of these? What do? I say it every time. If it's burning you, scream. If it feels like it's burning you, it's because it is. Speak up, roll over, take it off, bark like a dog, whatever you got to do. Get the attention you need. Every time I put that on someone, I will say, if this is hot, if it feels like it's burning you, it's because it is. No matter if that's the 100th time or the first time. Always tell them. But if they don't have sensation, if it feels like it's burning you, well, I can't tell. Then you can burn them. Yeah. So don't put it on immediately after an injury. As soon as you have an injury, you have histamine come, and the histamine then says, "Hey, come on, blood cells, we want to come here and protect you." We don't need to do that. That was great back in the day when we were killing saber-toothed tigers, but not today. When you were killing saber-toothed tigers, it allowed you to heal because it was too painful to ambulate, to go hunting again. And then you would be saber-toothed tiger dinner because you couldn't move. But now we want you to move as much as possible because you're not going to get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. One, you know where your meal is. You don't have to hunt too hard. Just to your phone and your credit card. Hey, Domino's, bring one over. So don't put it on immediately after an injury. When there is decreased arterial circulation directly over your eyes or genitals. Yeah. Over the abdomen during your pregnancy. Yeah. Cook the baby. So come on in here. We cook the baby. Not a good idea. And then to a body part that exhibits signs of acute inflammation, I also would say don't put it over an infection. It's already got a fever. So there's your moist heat pads, a hydroculator. It may be 20 minutes. I don't know, about 30. It's really probably going to drop off. How hot do you think this water is? Huh? What's scalding? You know, you scald yourself? How hot is that? No, 212 is boiling. About 120. 120 degrees, you'll scald yourself. 212 degrees is boiling. You pull 212 degrees and off the stove and put it on you, you're getting third-degree burns. Instantaneously. Fire? You mean something that's way into the several hundred degrees. Look at that. Boy, it's already past scalding. Quickly. See where the F is? It's not for fail, it's for Fahrenheit. It goes up to what? 140 is what it'll register, and it's going to peg that out and keep going. So this is about 160 to 170 degrees. So that's why it's important that you tell people, if this feels like it's burning you, it's because it is. Exactly. So be careful not to burn your athlete. Be careful not to burn yourself. That's every bit 160. Yeah, no problem. 165, 170 degrees. Not a fun thing to be putting your hand in. All right? Whirlpool bath, no more than 104 degrees. You're 98.6. 104 degrees is all you need. A hot tub, you know, if you're doing a hot tub, 104 degrees. Huh? Yeah, not a good idea. What if you got into a whirlpool or a hot tub and you got all the way up to your clavicles at 110 degrees? What's going to happen? What? You're going to overheat. Before that, you'll drown. How are you going to drown? I'm awake. I'm not drinking. No. Your blood's going to do something, but it's not going to boil. No, it's going to. Your blood is then going to be transferred to the hot places, and that's not your. And your brain says, cuckoo, and you fall down, and you faint, and then you drown. All right? It is. It's a creepy thing. So, coil not more than 104 degrees. Careful with full body immersion. When you are in a training room, you need to make sure that if you've got somebody in the whirlpool that you stay out with them, or they have windows so that you can see them, etc. We use them now and then. Time restraint is what kills us on that. So keep the water in your whirlpool clean and change your water often, especially if you got somebody who's got an open scar or open wound. Use it one time, sterilize it, and then fill it back up. There are heaters that you can put in these whirlpools where you can fill it up once in the morning. And as long as you've got clean people going in, you keep using it. It's nothing, just bath water, right? So there's Joey. Joey, that's my cousin. He's Joey. My cousin Joey's sitting in there for his ankle. They make a lot smaller whirlpools for such extremities, but we don't have one. I wish we could sell one of these and buy a smaller one for hands, elbows, ankles, feet. Okay, well, we'll try that. Paraffin. What is paraffin? Hot wax. So, yeah, I don't think we have one. All right, we'll talk about paraffin tomorrow.